Hello and welcome to the Horror House Podcast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Chris.
Jeff.
And here we are, once again. We may have been
Success.
echoing through all reality right there. I hope not, but it's very possible. We're experimenting tonight with some sound things, so bear with us.
Not with drugs. Drugs are bad, kids.
I mean, some of them. Some of them?
Okay.
But let's get into it.
Only the government knows which drugs are good.
Let's get rid of our names real quick. Here is some socials. If you guys want to follow us on the things. And then go away. You're gone. All right. Magic. I think that's how illusions began, is computers. Back in the Dark Ages, the one guy that had a computer was just blowing people's minds. The one that he was set up for live streams in the fucking Dark Ages, and he was just killing it, just killing. So many subs and fucking gift subs, and it's just, you know.
Yeah, you've seen the movies where someone's like the Neanderthals, either like, behold fire. No, one dude's like, behold, Bing. And Neanderthals are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Way better than Google.
Way better.
They're Neanderthals. They don't know any better.
All right. How come?
Not,
I think it may be.
Just a joke.
I think it may be exclamation point socials.
Oh, okay. Let's try it again.
I think.
Figure it out eventually.
There
There
you
you go.
Bam. Dave or Jeff, type in to the chat exclamation OnlyFans. just to see what happens. For anybody listening to this after the fact, just trust that the joke was worth it.
Nice.
The old Texas Chainsaw Massacre strikes again.
Got it. You got me.
But what brings us here today is a little old
Jesus
movie.
Christ?
Kind of. If Jesus was George C. Scott,
Could
and who's
be.
to say it wasn't?
I've never seen him in the same room together, so it's possible.
Yeah. We're here to talk about 1980's The Changeling, a movie that I had been confusing with Ghost Story from a year later, from 81. But I watched Ghost Story. Well, I watched The Changeling and then immediately watched Ghost Story afterwards, and they share an actor, which hopefully I'll remember to talk about. But I'd been wanting to watch The Changeling for a long time, a few good years, so I am glad we have done this. But first, what time is it?
8:37.
No,
It's about that time.
it's news time. It's horror movie news time.
We need a soundbite here, Chris. A little bit of the beep 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 beep
That-
beep beep beep. Breaking news.
If I hadn't played with audio all day, I could have maybe made a couple things, but it's been a fucking process. But now it's time to have fun. Dave, what is something you would like to talk about first? News speaking. What you got? I'm gonna drink for a minute.
Okay. Let's start off with something completely unexpected, I think, today. A little bit of Adams Family news. I teased this in pre-show tonight. So Adams Family, there is a new Adams Family movie in the works, and apparently it'll be out this year, direct to streaming on Shudder. It is Adams Family Hellhole. Oh,
It's
brought
better
world to
than
the
a
back of the line.
hellhole. Spinal Tap?
that is going to be.
Interesting.
It might. I'm just judging by the name. It might focus on Lurch's OnlyFans. I don't know.
That's the Lurch Hole. I think that's what he named it.
Well,
Wow, we're too dirty.
that's the imagery right there.
Too dirty for
Imagery, right?
It's after 8:30. It's time to get dirty on Twitch. Welcome to the horror house. I'm interested. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. What can Shudder do that? I mean, oh no! You know what I was thinking? I was thinking of the Monsters, the Rob Zombie Monsters, and that's where my
trash.
That's where I was thinking.
I
so I'm like, how could it be worse
it-
than that? So
Yeah, I mean, there's a little camp there already. The
Yeah.
Netflix Wednesday series was pretty good. I mean, I admit it is pretty good. So I'm interested. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll probably watch it. I'd probably give it a watch.
nice. Well, kind of in that same vein. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I sure did not know this. Tubi has original horror movies, and they're only a couple. But they're in the original productions game now. Like Shudder and all them. Not like Shudder, but they're getting there. They're getting there. It's a start. But they have a new
green on too.
They have a new one coming out tomorrow, I think, is when it comes out, called Killer Body Count. It's a low budget. It kind of looks like most modern era full moon stuff. Maybe a little better than that. I would say maybe a little better than that. Because you know how garbage some of the modern era full moon stuff looks. But
Yeah.
and they've
Didn't watch Coronavirus Zombies, so
we're waiting on you, Charles Band. Quit pussing out. Quit pussing out. But they have had two other horror movies before this. One is called Slay, that's like features drag queens. I'm not sure the exact premise, and there's one in between that I didn't write the name of down because I'm a loser, baby. So why don't you kill me? I'm a loser, baby. Why don't? Anyways, Beck. Anybody remember Beck? Don't ban us, Twitch. Jesus fucking Christ. Just having fun. Dave, what's your next news tidbit?
I just heard today that Netflix is going to have a new Terminator series.
Really?
Out before too long. That it is in the works currently, and it intriguingly allegedly wants to go for a very stalker slasher vibe from the Terminator. I thought that kind of seemed like a cool new direction. And this might perk up some people who really liked our show last week. We did Castlevania. Terminator Zero, as the series will be known, is going to be an anime.
Interesting.
So that is, I saw one image of the Terminator with red glowing eyes, and it looked pretty cool. So I'm going to be in.
Nice.
I'll at least give it a chance and see where we go.
It can't be any worse than Genesis. Was it Genesis that had John Connor, and then he was the fucking Terminator? Because
yeah,
I tell you what, if they could have had their own technical difficulty screen to like just cover up a whole movie, that's one of them that they should have covered up. Genesis.
It was such a big twist in the movie, which it didn't need that anyway.
Yeah.
Then they also accidentally spoiled it in some of the trailers. So
Yeah.
Way to go. Way to go, team. It didn't, what was the newest one, though? It's after Genesis, there's one, is it Dark Fate?
I
Um,
with Arnold back, I've not watched that one.
yeah, yeah. It was a at least a return to, like, more of a standard, um,
Good movie?
Terminator
Decent
story, so
movie?
yeah, it was okay. It's not 1 or 2. 1 or 2, I'll even take 3. I don't mind 3. Um, so, even though I shit on it a little bit last week, but 1, 2, or 3, I'm good.
I actually like the
1
one
is,
that had Christian Bale in it, and I felt like they
was
could
it
have built on
Tom
that, and then
Hardy
they
in there?
just no, who was it? Sam from
Uh,
the Avatar
Big
movies.
Lots of Tom Hardy.
Sam something. Australian?
Sam Raimi,
Yes.
Neil.
Neil. They should
I don't know what
make him
else
the
he's
Terminator, the next Terminator.
uh yes. That was him. I
We
got
got the
nothing.
perfect crossover, Jeff.
I did
Terminator
start
versus Jurassic Park.
I did
There
start
you
Sam
go.
Neill.
watching The Possession last night, featuring Sam Neill. I fell asleep during it, but it's supposed to be
Aw.
fucked up. Next up on the horror news docket, we have got a movie called Night Bitch. And I was immediately intrigued. Stars Amy Adams, who I feel like is a little bit above such a title. But I have to read you. This is the reason that I put it on here. I don't know that it's actually horror, but the description seems like horror. But let me read you guys this description and see what you think. Let me see what you guys think. A suburban mom thrown into the stay-at-home routine of raising a toddler. As she embraces the feral power deeply rooted in motherhood, she becomes increasingly aware of the bizarre and undeniable signs that she may be turning into a dog.
Sounds horror.
Okay,
Uh, wh-
yeah, okay.
and it's called Night Bitch, which is fantastic. I thought Dave would have more to say about this one, but he's locked in.
I'm I'm um I'm thinking. I'm processing. I just hopefully this is a horror comedy, because if you try this and be in serious, like, I don't know I
Or
don't know that can work.
what was the Disney movies where the dad turned into the dog and then it was a whole like shenanigans movie? It could be that, but like
A-Dog?
he's like a big white dog. I think Tim Allen maybe did like a remake 20 years ago.
Like Shaggy
Yeah,
Dog
I know
PA?
exactly.
Yeah. I think that is it. It could be like that, but like hard R. They're like going through like a Deadpool Shaggy movie. Dave,
Yep.
what you got?
I got Lou Ferrigno is going to be starring in a new horror movie coming out. He plays a cannibal pig farmer. The movie is called The Hermit. And I'm in. Lou Ferrigno is still a giant of a man, unless he's standing next to Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's. I think this could be something. I think this could be something. He's
Okay.
got some acting cred. Like, look at him in the original Hulk TV series. Like, that was.
He had a guest spot on The King of Queens in the early 2000s as a neighbor.
I forgot that, but I do remember him being on there.
Oh, The King of
I
Queens.
like me
Oh.
some Lou Ferrigno. So
Yeah. My final bit of news is about today. They revealed it on IGN, a video game more oriented website, but Horror Inc., who owns kind of the Jason part of Friday the 13th, but not really the Friday the 13th part of Jason now. It's a whole thing. So a few years ago, Victor Miller, who wrote the script for Friday the 13th, sued Horror Inc. because I guess they own it now. But he's like, this wasn't a work for hire. I wrote this. You use whatever. So somehow the original copyright revert back to him, but they keep the stuff with Jason. So it's just a fucking mess. It's just a fucking, it's still a mess. So
Like
the A,
Sony, Disney, with
kind of,
Spider-Man.
yeah. But so the A24 Friday the 13th thing is going to have, I think, nothing to do with anything called Jason. It's going to be all pre-Jason. I don't even know that they'll use the name Jason if they're legally allowed to. Who knows? But then, on top of that, completely unrelated, like Sony and Disney with Spider-Man, you have Horror Inc., who are the original owners, is what they build themselves as, of Friday the 13th. And they're making the Jason universe, which they say they're launching it and announcing things throughout 2024, but it's going to be across multiple platforms, games, immersive experiences, merchandise, and more. They never said a movie. So
Okay.
there's a website. It's got about the worst looking CGI Jason mask you could ever ask for. And I think they're just going to go ahead and just do things with Jason, completely apart from Friday the 13th. It certainly does seem.
Hope they do some children's film and be like, Jason rides the bus, and
They may.
Jason goes to the grocery. Jason buys a sandwich at the bodega.
That's abs.
See Jason's tab.
The dude was in New York. He had to eat
Yes.
sometime.
Yes. That would be. I mean, have you seen those Friday the 13th games? I think they're billed as Friday the 13th too. They're like the little puzzle games with block Jason that you move for, like, and you kill the. And that there's like anyways. But you can sign. I signed up for their newsletter, so we will miss no news because I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. Tell me what you're doing, Horror Inc. Who, if you search for online, you'll only find stuff about Victor Miller suing them and the Jason universe. That's how centered they are on this.
Hey, you gotta start somewhere.
Yes. But that said, I think. Oh no, we've got one more bit of news. One more little bit of news. We have to say, R.I.P. to the core man, to Roger Corman. It is with heavy hearts, heavy minds. We have to pour one out for our homie, Roger Corman. We've kind of been. Go ahead, Dave.
Go ahead. I'll save for just a second.
We've been talking about doing Roger Corman for so long, and I think we have to this season. In the next month or so, we will start our Roger Corman experience.
A Roger Corman retrospective. I think when I heard the news, I think my first thought, and I think probably all of us. Can I get a one shot, Chris? Can I get a one?
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. Hold on one sec.
Let me take a sip for my homie Raj. When I heard the news, I, like a lot of us, I was just in shock. One, these guys are iconic. You just think, kind of take it for granted. They've just always been. Roger Corman has always been and will always be. And now we know the sad truth that he's not. But I think the first thing I thought in my head when I heard him passing is exactly like you said. We've been talking about doing Roger Corman. We should have shot our wad, and we didn't. And the other thing that crossed my mind is, why Lord Odin, All Father, in the name of everything that is good and holy, why couldn't it have been Charles Band?
There you
Right.
have it.
Chad.
There you have it.
Sorry. Sorry, Charles Band, if you're watching and you were like, "Oh, I'm going to hit these guys up. I'm going to go on the show." Now he's like, "Nah, fuck it. I'm
Yeah.
off again."
Fuck these losers. uh,
I'm going to show them. I'm going to make another killer puppet movie, and I'm going to put 3 times as many titties in it, and I'm only going to watch it at home by myself and never share it with the world. Like, fuck, Charles Band, you
if only he'd
motherfucker.
been doing that for the last 20 years. Ba-dun-dun-ba-dun-dun. I could have used a technical difficulties screen there. But ain't nothing wrong with that, Dave.
I stand by what I said. You can say anything that's true.
Well, I think without further ado, are you fellas ready to talk about the Changeling?
I am, but I think we should have all the ado.
With all the ado, Jeff,
With all the
are
ado.
you ready to get into this? This was Jeff's pick for this week. So we need I need to do a screen that's like spoiler alert. Go no further. If you know, like those, like the diving things. It's like if you go past here, you will die. Don't fuck around. You will die. But
I think that is a spoiler alert here. Normally, I shit on a little bit, but right here isn't necessary. I feel like it is very necessary. Or a lot of people probably have not seen the Changeling. Um, it really tells the Black experience in a new way. Um, I was surprised that Apple TV did this series. Like it was,
Dave,
and when
no.
Jeff picked it, I'm like, oh,
I did see that there
there
was
we
a. Are you talking about the modern like thing that I saw? There was like a recent The Changeling, but does it have something to do with this? Because I didn't know if it did or not.
um
I did not
not
explore it.
exactly, not exactly.
Okay,
And I did not watch any of it. I watched the 1980 movie. I'm not dumb, and Great
that's
Scott all the way. But I did get some synopsis for the 2023 Apple TV series, The Changeling, and I have a theory that I'll share later. Um,
okay. A tease. A tease.
oh, that's what she
But
said.
Jeff, why don't you give us a quick couple sentence rundown, maybe a paragraph, however, whatever you're feeling, of what the Changeling is about.
So it is kind of based on a true story of Russell Hunter's experience in the Henry Treat Rogers mansion. So you got George C. Scott as John Russell. So you got the Russell thing going there. And he's a pianist whose family was mowed down basically by
He has a what?
a family.
Oh
Beginning of the
no,
movie, he
he
has
is a
what? A pianist?
start with a P. He has a penis. Okay.
That was too easy. I don't know that I should have done that, but it was too easy.
Okay, I'm
But in
sorry.
the
I
in the
will not interrupt your back of the box synopsis again.
first 5 minutes, they get in a automobile. Wow.
Right. So yeah, his while he's making a phone call to get his car repaired, towed or whatever, his wife and daughter are run down by a plow. So, and then it takes place a few months later, after he's grieved, and it what it takes place in the first part of the movie takes place in upper state New York, and then it moves to Seattle, where he goes back
Yeah.
to the college where he was teaching, and also he was composing music. Which another fact it was all filmed in Vancouver pretty much, except for like some exterior shots was shot in and around
I
the
was
college and stuff.
I was intrigued by that because usually, like, like I'll watch a Cronenberg movie and be like, this is clearly obviously Canada. But
Yeah,
I didn't pick that up in this one for some reason. I never felt like it was not just where it was supposedly set.
they
So,
did some exterior shots around where they were supposed to be, but everything was filmed pretty much in a studio in Vancouver or
yes.
Toronto. The house doesn't really exist.
Blew my
Uh,
mind.
yeah,
Yeah.
Blew my fucking mind.
because this is all close to by Russell Hunter was all in Colorado, Denver, Colorado. So, but there's a lot of stuff about that where his timeline doesn't really fit and everything doesn't really work out.
Oh.
So we really don't know if this is all a true account or how much of this is true. But it's basically George C. Scott. His family gets mowed down. A few months later, he's going back to the school because he's better now, and he talks with these people that work at the school that say, "Hey, there's a historical preservation society has houses that they rent out that he could rent, and he can work on his music while he's teaching at the school." So he gets in touch with this lady, which was actually his actual wife in the movie, uh, and that he rents this house, is really big kind of mansion, so he can work on his music, and then he's haunted by ghosts, which is different from a lot of movies where they always have the person haunted by his family. So it's nothing to do with his family after
Yeah.
that. He's just haunted by the ghost in this house.
It
And
leaves it a little open at first, right? Like, he doesn't
right,
know, he thinks it might be his daughter.
Yeah.
right, because you see the ball. She has a red ball that's gray, red and gray and white stripe that bounces downstairs. So it gets this feeling that, oh, maybe he's being haunted by his
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
and so they kind of take that and they take it a different direction where he's being haunted by some ghost in this house, which he later finds out from a medium, uh, that it's nothing to do with his family. Uh, that it's this boy. The owner of the house had a son who was in a wheelchair, who was very sickly, and that apparently died in this house, and that the father had left to go overseas and basically found another kid, uh, which was during the war. So it seemed like years passed, so no one knew, like, the kid grew up, like no one would know who the kid was. So he just picked another kid from an orphanage to say that it was his son, and he had killed his original son in this house. Well, yeah, in this house, I think. Uh,
Yeah.
he had another house that he had taken the kid, I guess, to drown. That you find out later on.
It's that part was a little bit convoluted. I felt like they didn't need to really go with that idea, but
Yeah,
I mean, why couldn't you have had the well in the basement of this giant house? I mean, but it gives you a different location to look at, I guess, and a couple different
We
characters
need a
to,
new location. That's exactly what it was.
yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, they kind of like kill the kid in that house, but then he takes it to another house that the father had owned at one point, and I guess
Well,
buried him in a well.
I think it was just land at that point and a well on that
Yeah,
land, and then they
yeah,
eventually built a house over the well. Whale?
yeah, yeah.
Was it a ghost or was it whale penis?
You never know. You never know when it comes to whale
You never know
penis.
these days.
You never know.
Never know. Ever changing look.
Um,
Oh,
but then, I mean, they discover the body, right? And then it just kind
right.
of wraps itself up. I mean, there's some more odds and ends, but
They had a lot
let's,
of good actors in the film that apparently were like prominent, like in England or something like that, where they're like, oh, they had like a very brief moment in this movie, and uh, Melvin Douglas was in this movie, and he's a really great actor who was in the Thin
yes.
Man series, and he really usually plays a good guy. He's usually
Mhm.
not a villain, other than I Never Sang for My Father, which had Gene Hackman in it, which he was a real asshole in that movie too.
And he is the actor that was in Ghost Story that came out a year later,
Oh.
which we may get around to one day. It's got, I think, Fred Astaire in one of his last roles,
This
which
is
was
his last
interesting.
two final films, I think. Melvin
And
Douglas.
yeah, I think Melvin Douglas and Fred Astaire was like one of their last movies, singularly. But it was, I've been confusing these two movies for so long. The Changeling, I will say right now, is the superior of the two, and I'll hear no complaints. You hear me, chat? The Changeling is the better movie of the two.
I mean, so far we already have Ty West saying it's scary. You have, according to IMDb, it says that Martin Scorsese says it was scary. You have Nev Campbell, who apparently did a thing on one of the Scream movies, saying that it was scary. So I mean, you already have
Yeah,
several prominent people saying this is like a legit scary film. So
Why do you think though that we how this is being scary, but similar modern are we just more jaded now? We have modern movies that do some of the same stuff, but we actually show something. Is the showing it what detracts? Is it the level of acting, or is it we're just more jaded now? So I mean, there's a grittiness and a realism to something shot in 1980 on film
yeah,
that you don't get with shot digital. Um, it's almost anything shot digital, even when they try to kind of um take the fidelity down, it still gets very sanitized looking. I feel like so,
yeah,
like some. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but with 1980, like it's down and dirty. It's like listening on a record. You get the
yeah, yeah,
total ambience, even if it's not front and center. It's not a piece of it. Just fills in the blanks in your brain a little bit, and know, I don't know. Also,
I
George Scott C. Scott here. I actually saw someone, Siskel and Ebert, where they were like, um, this movie would have been better with somebody else with lesser acting ability because he didn't overact enough. Which I felt like there was plenty of overacting in this movie myself, but it's a time thing, like 1980. This is a
yeah,
style, so.
yeah,
I mean, the sound quality for it. I love the old films because it has that loudness that a lot of films don't have. They go over out where the audio just kind of hurts your ears.
yeah.
It sounds off.
And
It's not all streamlined.
you get to the, when they do the seance and then he's listening back, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, in a blown out movie like today, like if you were to watch a similar thing in like The Conjuring, whatever sequel, like it wouldn't have the variation in the, the peaks and the lows. Like, so when he's listening
Yeah.
back and he hears Joseph speak for the first time, it's genuinely, to me, it was creepy in this because like you kind of had to listen a little harder yourself to like hear that. And
Yeah.
you wouldn't get that today. It would just be so, it'd be as blown up and compressed as everything else in the movie. And I,
True.
I mean, that's not even just movies, that's music as well. Everything is just, you got to make everything as loud as possible, or it just, I don't know. Modern audiences aren't there for it, I guess.
It's
So
another perfect example, I feel like, of it wasn't sanitized because when he listens to the playback, you get that hush. When I say hush, I don't mean quiet. I mean that chording sound.
yeah,
You
yeah.
Yeah.
get the pops and cracks, and um, so I, there's a realness missing from digital. I feel like
And it was neat because, it's 1980. I mean, I don't know when they actually started filming this. Maybe in 79, maybe I'm
78.
78. Interesting.
78 to 79. It was
Okay.
December of 78 to February 79. And it wasn't released
Oh,
until 1980.
yeah. So I mean, you had cassettes then, but they weren't obviously the prominent home recording thing.
Yeah.
That was still a little bit a ways away. So at this point, he's got reel to reel recording at home, which is, I don't know that I'd have been able to deal with that, but I mean, that's what he used to record the seance, and he has to play it back. It's a whole, I mean, it's just like a big cassette, kind of, but it's just
extra
interesting to
steps.
watch. It's a very time capsule kind of look back at that period. So it wasn't just a record it and listen back. It's like a big fucking thing. And
And Dorsey Scott actually learned how to play the piece on the piano where he played in the college.
yeah,
He actually learned how to play that, so that's him playing it. So I mean, it's not
it's
just they just played it over him, just tapping the
yeah.
keys.
I much respect. That is super cool.
And I guess that there's a thing of it going around that George C. Scott was a hard actor to work with, and the director was like, the only issue they had was they knocked over a chessboard that he was playing against himself, and that was the
Oh
only
yeah,
issue they had with apparently with him. Other than
that
that, he was apparently very easy to work with.
he'd been playing against himself for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I read
yeah,
that somewhere. I'm like, God, I'd have
It's
been talking to.
dedication.
I could imagine being like a nobody and trying to talk to George C. Scott and just feeling like an idiot. He's like, I've been playing a chess game against myself for 2 weeks, and you're like, fuck, what do I say to you?
he's such a
I
versatile
hope you
actor.
did.
He could play different roles without you going, oh, that doesn't seem like it's in his wheelhouse. It's not like, The Rock playing a scientist,
Right.
and Rampage. It was like, I don't get him as a scientist. It was an okay movie, but I mean, you could get him as, oh yeah, he's playing the piano. He can be different people.
Hmm.
He's got that versatility and his
I
his
got to
character.
defend the movie Rampage here for a second, Jeff. You probably didn't. Probably didn't watch it with the deleted scenes where
No,
Rock was doing bicep curls and going, "The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Cells divide by mitosis and meiosis."
as an animal
Oh,
wrangler, yes. As a scientist, not really. It was hard to believe.
oh.
So, as an
I mean,
action movie, it was good.
I thought. I mean,
Better
we've
video
seen
game.
him in The Exorcist, and I think this is very similar to The Exorcist 3 in certain ways,
Yes.
in the way he goes about it. His Kinderman in that movie is pretty similar to him in this, and in a lot of regards. But in this, I thought it was interesting because you know, you get this thing that happens at the beginning with his wife and kid, and then you don't see him react to that except for the initial like banging on the phone booth trying to get out. For a minute.
It's another scene.
Yeah, like it goes
It's-
it
Yeah.
goes it takes a minute to get there. Like he's meeting with the college people and the people, you know, getting him in the house, and it's not till a little bit later that you see him in the bed crying and like, you
Yeah.
know, real heavy. And
But then
I
he
thought,
hears a sound in the house, and he's instantly out of the crying. He's like, "Ghost,
yeah,
I better investigate," and just leaves that shit behind. So
uh, I took that, you know, and that's kind of the way he reacts to all of the ghost shit. And then at a certain point in the movie, he's fed up with the ghost shit, and he's like, "What do you fuck do you want from me?"
you want me?
He's like, I did what I was supposed to. What do you want?" And I'm like, this may be the best ghost story I've ever watched. Because the dude is like holding in all of his emotions. And then, you know, at one point, he's just like, "I don't fucking know what you want, ghost. Fuck me, right?"
We found your body.
Yeah.
We took care of it. I talked to the guy that took your place. I gave him the medallion. Like, what do you want?
What else can I
Apparently,
do
set
for you?
whole house on fire, you know?
You can't do a favor for a ghost. Some ghosts will, once you do
No.
one favor, you just got to keep pleasing the ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you were watching it, Jeff, had you seen this before?
Yes, I watched
okay.
it a few years back. So it was like, oh, I just
So
felt like in the mood for a George C. Scott movie, you know?
respect. Thinking back to when you first watched this, Dave, had you watched this before too? I don't think so.
Long
Long time ago.
The VHS rental days, and maybe once or twice. It didn't have. We'll talk about that.
So did you think that it was his family at the beginning? Like you know, when the haunting begins to start, you're like, "Oh, this is his daughter or his wife or whatever." And then obviously as we go, we learn.
A lot of movies are like that. They go back and they go, "Oh, he's being haunted by his family,"
right?
You know, the trauma and all that kind of. So it's like, oh, that must be what it is because that ball rolls down the stairs. So you're thinking, oh, okay, his family's coming back. You know, trying to talk to him, something, and it has nothing to do with his family at all.
And they also cue you to think that too, because like the ball bounces out of the moving boxes, and he has the flashback to his daughter. So purposely lead you down that wrong path too. So kudos to the filmmakers for that. Kudos to the filmmakers for that. To pull the rug.
Never going around the house trying to talk to his family. He's just trying to figure out what's going on. You know? So it's not like he's, other than his dreams, you know, his thoughts being on his family, it has nothing to do with it at all, which is nice. You know, they don't come back and try to help him.
I also feel like he may be motivated by the loss of his family to help the ghost. So, and maybe that's you get some illusions that things have gone on in this house before. Clearly, he's not the first one, but it really kind of makes you wonder if we don't have escalation because he is entertaining the ghosts. So, he ghosts. So that's another tease, by the way. It's not so much a tease if I just like tell you. Okay, so. You are quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, there was not. I was absolutely muted. Sometimes I gotta burp. Sometimes I gotta take like a big drink, and I'm afraid that my throat will reveal my swallowing. Don't clip that. Don't clip that. But yeah.
You're no Nancy Reagan.
I'm no Nancy Reagan. I thought it was interesting. So we get the two deaths at the beginning, the mother and the daughter. And how
horrible, by the way. How if I can interject real quick.
You can't.
Horrible.
Go ahead.
You, how horrible to stand in a phone booth and watch your wife and daughter get plowed right in front of you. It's just
God damn it.
You got the first time.
Uh, my God.
Oh.
Well,
got you. I got you. Yeah.
to piggyback on that, is that no? So we get 2 deaths at the beginning, and
Yeah.
it is almost an hour and a half. I think it was hour 26, if I'm not mistaken, until the next death in the movie, which is crazy. I mean, and it doesn't feel like it needs anything in between that. I mean, you got enough going on, but for a horror movie, I mean, a lot of, studios are like, we need, between this and this, we need these beats of some kind of chase or death or gore or something. And here it takes its time, and the deaths really aren't what matters in this. I mean, the first 2, obviously.
No. Yeah. It takes us. It builds it up slowly with the creepy vibe. He's hearing that pounding sound, and then he finds that there's a closet that has a secret staircase, and so he's breaking all that shit down. And when he starts pounding on the lock, you hear the pounding sound. He stops and he's holding his head down, and then he decides to stop doing that and break the lock. And it just builds it up to this whole thing, and they find out stuff about the kid going through the historical records, that there was this family that lived there, and the kid that maybe had died there, and he gets all this information that, oh, maybe he killed the dad had killed this kid in this house. And that kid, Joseph, is just kind of haunting him to figure out what's going on.
Something about that. As it went on and the ghost got more aggressive on stuff, I thought that was going to end up being the dad.
Yeah.
And it's just Joseph, seemingly. I mean, we don't know it completely for sure, but I thought the aggressive parts were the dad trying to stop Joseph from, getting out there.
Right.
Maybe it could have been, but I think we're supposed to believe that the whole paranormal aspect is just Joseph.
Him pounding on the tub, trying to struggle out from his father's grasp of pushing him down.
Which the ending,
that was fucking weird. Just gonna say it. That was fucking weird. He's drowning the kid by holding him by his feet.
Yeah.
Well, he's paralyzed, right?
I have never drowned a kid in the bathtub, but I think if I was going to, I'd hold him by his chest and hold his upper body down. But
I thought that at the beginning, but then he had some kind of condition, right? Like he was paralyzed, or he had some kind of developmental thing where he. Yeah. So maybe the legs was enough. You never know. You never know.
I mean, that at least keeps you away from him, swinging at you with his hands. You grab him by his feet, you hold him up. He can't hit you.
Yeah. Which we get to the ending. Actually, before that, I want to talk about what I thought was leading to an ending before that, a false ending, if you will. So when George C. Scott listens to the recording and hears Joseph for the first time, he calls Claire, but then starts to have, a heart problem. Starts to passes out. I thought he fucking died. He's sitting in the chair. She comes in the room in the next scene, right? Like he's sitting in the lounger. She comes in through the room, and then he's talking to her, but she doesn't seem to really respond to him immediately. I'm like, fucking Sixth Sense right here. This is where M. Night stole his shit. I'm like, he's dead as shit. He's a ghost, and now he's gonna help Joseph from beyond the grave. This is fucking crazy.
He collapses on the floor, and the next scene he's in a chair. It's like, did he get up and go to the chair? And then he apologized like he just passed out in the chair. It's like, you were on the
Yeah.
floor a minute ago.
She doesn't look at him for the first good part of
Right.
that. I'm like, he's dead as shit. He's a ghost. And I don't know where this is going. No. No. No.
I have to admit, I at one point thought that Claire was part of the conspiracy. I thought, oh, the historical society, they know what happened. Like, why'd they lie to him and say, like, oh, no, we don't know nothing? But then the old lady is like, strange things happened in that house.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Claire's a dirty bitch. So one of the moments that I thought was really good, and I've seen it since, and this is kind of the origination of this type of thing, but I thought it was really good. He puts George Scott is a pretty solid dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
He was
he's a
patting.
pretty solid dude, and and he likes the younger ladies. Although it's fucking weird, like you can't judge age in 1980 because
Yeah.
like,
Or the
dudes
70s
who were
or
50 in 1980 look old, and I'm 50 now.
Have you
I'm
seen
like,
that shit
I don't
about the
look that old.
Cheers cast? And they're like, you see a picture of the Cheers cast, and it's like everybody was below 34. And I'm like, God damn.
It's
Okay.
fucking weird. When he finds the door that goes to the attic where the kid's room is, and it's first he puts his shoulder into it a couple times, right? Then he's like, "Huh, I guess it's not gonna open," and then the door just goes opens on its own. I thought that was kind of it was a good beat right there. That gave me vibes. As I'm going to shit on when he's hammering the lock with the hammer, and he's like, "Oh,
I won't stand for
not,
George C. Scott
not believe."
slander, Dave. He was hitting that like a man. Hitting that like a man?
But
I'm gonna have to figure out another joke eventually. But not yet. Not now.
oh, beat that motherfucker till it's dead, dead, dead.
Well, speaking, one other thing I wanted to say about the house is that, you know, like Jeff was saying, it had all the exteriors, but the interiors were all on a set. It was all built, and I don't understand because the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, this is some fucking house. I wouldn't want to be in there by myself like him. I would never fucking ever want to be in a house like that by myself at night and hear shit. No fucking thank you. Absolutely not. I had technical difficulties the fucking least before I even signed it. If I walked in there being George C. Scott, I'm like, let's not do this. I thought it was creepy as shit, and you're telling me that's a set? Holy shit. I don't know who.
The house.
That's crazy
When
impressive.
they built when they burnt the facade of the house, I did not know. I really thought like he filmed in this whole fucking house and then just burnt it to the ground for a movie. It wasn't until I watched like the little documentary thing afterwards. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" They had me, man. The practical effects in 1980,
I think that had all of us.
Look better than fucking shit they're putting out now. So
yeah, I couldn't believe it was a set. I still can't.
Yeah, step up. I'm not gonna place the blame on special effect people. I'm gonna place the blame on Hollywood money people. So they don't want to invest in practical effects, and I can't believe that practical effects are more expensive. It's got to be actually cheaper than fucking all the digital shit. I think they just have an interest in pushing the fucking digital shit. It's like a new toy. Like I'm not going to have this toy and not use it. So
you know what? I was thinking about that. I think part of it is these ginormous budgets they get, and they're just like, well, we could go find a fucking creepy house, or we could just build it and you know we could just model it in Blender and then put it in the movie or whatever. And it's just like no, like when you're constricted by your budget, you have to be creative in how you approach things, and you have to find perfect locations and stuff like that.
We're
Or
we're not far we're not from a far from a movie that is entirely shot on green screen. Yeah, it's coming.
Oh, it's happened.
I mean, The Room,
Sky
this
Captain and The World of Tomorrow. That was all
yeah,
green screen.
all
That movie doesn't exist. I've never seen it.
the Star Wars prequels all were mostly that. It's
There are 3 Star Wars movies, and I don't know what prequels they are.
yeah, yeah.
Which three?
Empire
After the
Strikes
Original
Back.
four, after
first
after
three, the
Revenge of
last three. And one thing we haven't talked about is the name of the movie is The Changeling.
Yeah,
It is based off of the Irish kind of folklore thing where like fairies would come and steal your baby and replace it with one of their own. So this basically is the original kid was murdered, and the dad went to England to get another kid from an orphanage to replace him. It doesn't really do with supernatural kind
yeah.
of things like that, but that's where the name comes from. Is that he killed his other kid and replaced him with another one.
Well, it was his
Or
dad or something. One of his, family members had their inheritance or whatever that would go to his young or his son,
Yeah.
but they couldn't be like, like for
he
him.
had to control the money if it
Yeah.
went to the
Yeah,
kid.
and
We
it
couldn't
that
let the kid die.
yeah. So
Or, Jeff,
swap
I'm
them
glad
out.
you brought this up because this plays into my theory. The spirit is angry with George Scott. That doesn't seem like the spirit of a boy with special needs who is being helped to get revenge. That seems more malevolent to me. And also, they talk several times about this happening at the turn of the century. So I kind of lost track of when this movie is occurring. I'm just going to say it's occurring in 1980. So therefore, you're telling me he got this kid around the turn of the century, and the kid now is a senator who is in 1980. This guy must be 90 years old. And yes, at the time of the filming of this movie, he looks like a young Mitch McConnell. I get it. But I actually think this is an actual changeling. And the dad knew it, and he did the only thing he could. He killed Changeling in an attempt to get his kid back. Um, so and then it happened. Like he got his kid back, which rarely happens with changelings. If you read this European lore about the European, I don't know where. Thank you. That was appropriate.
I thought you were being super
Um,
proper.
I mean,
I
it's
was
kind
like,
of like in
damn.
the new Hellboy with David Harbour, where the little baby was taken and was raised with the changeling, which was that boar pig thing.
yep, yep. And then he threads it and gets the couple's kid back, and I think here he gets you know maybe gets the kid back, and that's why the changeling is part of the fairy folk, and that's why they
um,
compel him kill himself. Although that was also something too, because he sees him in the burning house, but then the man dies in his office. So there's some shenanigans with the soul there and the spirit, something going on there. And then the wheelchairs gone wild thing is kind of crazy to me. One, those creepy old wheelchairs are creepy and old.
yeah.
Um,
Amen.
but when it knocks that bitch down the stairs, I thought it was going to just run over her and take her fucking head off, man.
I thought something. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was kind of in that same wheelhouse. Like something this creepy is gonna kill you, like one way or another. I thought she was dead as shit. I thought Claire was done for.
But Claire's
But
helping Russell, so why is the spirit mad at her and
it's
like I don't understand.
Do
I
you
don't
think,
understand.
because Joseph had some handicaps as a living person, do you think that translated to his ghost? That's kind of a goofy idea, but I don't know. I don't know. Uh,
I guess that's possible.
or I mean,
All of a sudden all of a sudden the ghost has the power of spirit wind and just spontaneous combustion as well. Well, just got it that kind of came out of nowhere a little bit.
yeah. I
Oh,
there's certain things that I would like to have seen different, but I mean, yeah, yeah. Um,
I'm shitting on it. I was going to shit on it just for Jackie and Stella,
oh
because they
what?
are so disappointed in how low you guys rated Ready or Not.
Oh,
They conspired to have me rate low, and I can't. It really is a good
they oh
tension for the movie.
wow. I've started. I know Dave, you were working on something, but I have also been working on a spreadsheet just so I can search real quick of what our stuff is. So our ready or not scores, I rated it a 5.5. Dave, you rated it a 7.7. Jeff gave it a 5. I don't have the averages because I don't know how spreadsheets work. I had to have my wife help me for a lot of this.
I do have that. I do have
um,
that.
but uh, let's go ahead and, I mean, if you guys are ready, I think it's time to get into our overall opinions and we rate this movie. Let's rate this bitch. Jeff, since it was your pick this week, Dave, we'll start with you. We'll go me, and then we'll end with Mr. Jeff. And let's get our overall opinions and rate it. So, Dave, after you, sir.
All right. So I talked about that. There's a grittiness and a realness to a movie that was shot in the early '80s. I will always love that. Yes, it looks a little dated when you're used to watching the shit, that is clean and sanitized. But once you get over that, understanding that this ain't gonna be in 4K, you get a realness that you can't fake. The practical effects were good. The music box, even the camera, the first person view of the wheelchair gone wild when it's chasing Claire. Um, the kid floating. Although when he's floating, like the water, you can't see the edges of the well. But then they dig up the well, it's like this. That aside, it looks cool. It looks ominous and creepy. There should be a whole genre of movies that is non-detectives being detectives. Um, as here we have George C. Scott. He's not a detective. He is he's a penis. Um, he's detectiving as a penis. So there, that's a whole genre of movies. What do you expect from somebody who watched his wife get plowed right in front of him? Um, the this is a tense movie, and there is action at the end. I really think could have been done differently because it seemed like put it off and put it off, and now we got to have a chase. We got to have this action at the end and really wrap things up. And I think you could have had that without the way they did it. Um, maybe tell the senator like, hey, we need you to come by the house, and then they tell him like, we got something on you. I did think it was a little weird that he's withholding information from the police. I can't tell them, well, you got the records. Files can be faked. Okay, but also they can verify that on their own. They're the police. That's what they do. Like, turn shit over to the police. Let them figure this shit out. Um, But if they had called the senator to the house and then said, then maybe come to this aha moment with the senators there, then it's like, oh, you figured it out. I got to kill you. But no, he's like an innocent bystander in all this too. He didn't know that his, he was replaced. Like I guess you don't know what he knew. It seemed like he was a little shocked by all this when he saw the medallion and it kind of matched up with the medallion he had. It seemed like it was news to him too. So, um, but overall, good tension. Um, good over the top acting. Over the top acting is not always good. This is good over the top acting. Um, and so I will go with I don't. It's very tense. I don't think it's quite as entertaining as Ready or Not. So why we're talking about that. So I'm gonna go just a tiny bit low. I'm gonna go 7.
Okay. A 7 from Dave. All right. Dave, put the camera on me. Dave?
Yeah, got it.
Dave. How long can this show go on?
I refuse. I refuse.
I thought the vibe throughout this
Your screen time,
was...
Chris.
What was it?
I said, get your screen time, man. Get
Oh,
in there.
so the vibe throughout is creepy. Like, once he's in the house, it's creepy, and it never really is offensively creepy or goofy creepy. It's just genuinely creepy, and it rides this line of it's a fine line. Like, how, for me, like, stayed this base level of uneasy pretty much the entire time. And I agree with you, Dave. Like, the ending isn't quite what I was after. It's not really what I wanted to see. And that's really my one big complaint with it. Like, usually I'm the nitpick guy, and I don't know that I can really. There's not a lot for me to nitpick except for that, really. I'll be honest. This is my favorite that we've watched in a minute. And I'll even go another step further. This may be, I don't know. I'm not an expert in haunted house movies. This may be my favorite haunted house movie I've seen.
Better than Hell House?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to give this, and hold on to your chairs or hold on to something. Be seated. I'm going to give this a 8.5.
Wow.
R.I.P. George C. Scott.
Yeah. Okay.
Jeff, go for it. Dave, cut to Jeff.
I mean, it's apparently one of the things we didn't talk about, I guess, was it was the first on-screen appearance of actor Joshua Jackson when he was just a few months old. So, I mean, here he got greatness right there.
Ducks stick together.
But yeah, it's such a good film about, it doesn't have to go back, and no one has to, like, oh, his family has to save him. His family's not haunting him. He's just haunted by something else. So it goes along that track that he's had this trauma, and so maybe he's affected by his trauma, that he's able to perceive the ghosts better than some of the other people, other than the median being there. He's able to, and no one's going back and going, oh, we don't see what you're talking about. Like, everyone else feels genuinely haunted by what's going on. And I really think the ending wasn't that bad. It gives it the climax, where Melvin Douglas is going up the stairs. It's his spirit. He's still in his office, kind of having the seizure. The picture shaking with the medallion on it. and he's there at the house. So like the ghost kind of separates his spirit from his body. He's going upstairs, like it's this traumatic thing. Like he doesn't want to be there, but yet he's going upstairs. Dorsey Scott tries to chase after him, and he gets up to the top of the stairs and gets blown off and falls off. And the whole thing with the wheelchair going down the stairs after the lady who's part of the historical preservation society, and it crashes, and at the end of the movie it's just sitting there completely intact after it crashed. I mean, it's got that whole creepy vibe through the entire film of stuff happening. No one's going, oh, this didn't happen. There's no back and forth stuff. He has to investigate. Where like Dave said, he's not an investigator. He's a pianist. So it's I don't know. It's just a good movie overall. It didn't have to go that back and forth. Oh, is this his family, not his family kind of thing. Like he's not being saved by anybody. It's just him and everybody else in that moment. I
It's a
mean,
penis against the world.
yeah. I mean, I give it a solid 8.
An
I mean,
8.
it's just
Okay.
good. Yeah.
And there we have it. Dave, what's our average, good buddy?
All right. Let me math with the advantage of having a calculator here.
Tabulations occurring.
7.8.
7.8.
Oh, that is a really good average. I think that might be up there with the second best average of the season. Castlevania was 8.25. You're not. It was an average of a 6.
I
Night Swim was a 4.3.
poor old
And
Night Swim. My camera has froze as much as anything can freeze. It's doing its best. And it sure looks. Oh no, I was gonna say Jeff looks frozen too.
I can sit real
hey,
still.
Jeff, so that you're not frozen.
It just looks like I'm really judging Jeff right now.
It does.
I assure you, I am not. Come on, camera. Oh no, I've lost the fucking voice. There we go.
Nope. Yep.
There it is. I'm back. God damn,
There
stupid piece of shit. Okay, an hour and 17 minutes is apparently when my webcam is like, I need a little bit of a break. Yeah, I love this movie. I'm surprised. I didn't think that I would rate it higher than anybody. I thought
Right.
everybody'd be at 9.5. I actually, you know what? I rated it. I watched it and then gave it an 8, and I'm like, 8 feels good. And then I kept thinking about it, and I'm like, 8.5. It's gotta be. It's because I've been thinking about it, and any movie that I continue to think about after I've watched, I feel like deserves a little bit of extra something. So 8.5 felt right to me.
I remembered renting this back in the day and not thinking very highly of it. Probably because I was young and dumb, and when I was young, I wanted the action, I wanted the body count, I wanted the gore,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I can appreciate what they've done without those things. So, young me probably would have rated a lot lower than I did.
It's a great movie. It's a great haunted house movie. It's a great George C. Scott movie. If you're into George C. Scott, go check it out. Don't go download Night Swim to your iPad. Download this.
It's available for free. You can watch it for free.
Yeah,
Tubi.
it's worth
It's
it.
also on. I watched half of it on Tubi, and then the next night I went to finish it, and Tubi would not play it because
Really?
and piece of shit internet piece of shit motherfucker.
You haven't looked
So
like
like,
the Hobgoblin all night, Dave.
oh, okay, I appreciate that, but we're still looking at the probably because it heard me talking like we're looking at the fiber. Better keep it up, buddy. So the second night when it wouldn't play, then I just went Shutter and fast forwarded a little bit and finished it in Shutter. So spoiler.
Spoiler.
So, yeah, I don't know.
So the senator in this, Melvin, what was his name, Jeff?
Melvin Douglas.
Melvin Douglas is one of the
Melvin
stars
McConnell.
in Ghost Story, which I kept getting these confused. When you said the Changeling last week, I'm like, oh yeah, the one where the old guys are sitting around talking about the. No, anyways. So I watched both of them. Had my own little double feature. Watched Ghost Story. Not as good as this. Not as good as this. Maybe we'll watch it one day. Maybe we won't. Full frontal male nudity in Ghost Story. Wasn't prepared for that, but there was.
Oh, okay, that's the thing.
Um, but and Fred Astaire, fellas, as a kind of into the show tonight, I wanted to talk real quickly, because yesterday I didn't do shit and watched movies all day. 3 disturbing movies. I Googled disturbing movies and picked 3 that I'd never seen before and watched them.
Okay.
I want to see
Baskin
if
guy would be proud.
let's see if he's heard of any of these. Number 1 being hold on. Let me double check that I'm saying the name right. Men Behind the Sun.
Minions, Rise of Proof.
No, Men Behind the Sun. Men Behind the Sun. 1988. It is about the Japanese experimenting and torturing foreigners, more specifically Chinese people, during World War II. Their experiments, the 731 Squadron, and all that crazy shit. There is animal cruelty in it. There is supposedly footage of real cadavers and stuff that they used because they didn't have great special effects. And there is supposedly, don't ban a switch, this is history. This is from the 80s. An autopsy of a child in it. They talked with the parents. It's fucked up. It's not a great story, but it's a good enough story to get the point across. And it is fucked up. It's one of the more fucked up movies I've seen in a hot minute. Have either of you heard of this?
I have not. I know about. I didn't know the movie exists, but I know about this Japanese unit and some of the atrocities they committed.
There is some messed up things in there. But that is one of the movies. Number 2 is a movie called Soft and Quiet, which is about some racist housewives, essentially. It's all shot in one shot, beginning to end, which was impressive. But the story kind of fell apart. But there is some very racist Nazi things that they do in this movie that you are watch and experience, and you're like, why am I watching this? It's not as disturbing as the Men Behind the Sun. But and then lastly, there's another movie that I forgot the name of, and I don't know how to look up the name of it real quick. So that does it for the whorehouse. I've completely forgot the name of it. I've been drinking whiskey for a minute.
I understand.
But all these people talk about these disturbing movies. I don't know how you guys feel about disturbing movies. I can watch them and tolerate them, but I think we have to get to a point where we kind of do our own list of disturbing movies, whatever that may include. And then we present them for an episode. Maybe some people watching this on YouTube later or Spotify listening can give us some recommendations. If you guys have Dave, Jeff, Your thoughts,
I bought
opinions?
I bought at a Serbian film on Blu-ray and have yet to watch it because
There's a
as I
stigma.
it's well, I want to watch it. Also, I'm afraid to watch it. As what if it's is too disturbing for me? And then am I a big pussy, or
I don't think so.
you know, or what if I watch it and I'm like, disturbing that all that.
But
Um,
I'll leave it to you guys to like. I mean, some of like Cannibal Holocaust has real animal cruelty in it. This Men Behind the Sun had
I've
real animal
seen that.
cruelty.
I have seen that.
Stuff like that. Like, I mean, I'll watch it. I mean, I've watched so much worse than that. Mr. Hands.
Something wrong with the Johnsons?
That's pretty. That's disturbing in a you know. That's not showing anything real, but like, I mean, there's some bad
But the
shit out
subject
there.
matter.
Yeah, and I mean, Serbian film certainly fits into that too. But it's something I've been thinking about. So let us know. Let us know what your thoughts are on disturbing movies. One last thing before we are out. Not next week. We will be back next week, but the week after, we won't have an episode. More than likely. More than likely, we will not have an episode the week of the 30th. So the 23rd, we will be here. The 30th, we probably will be not. And the 6th,
A little
we will be
behind
back.
the scenes talk. And a kudos. If I wasn't here, the horror house goes off without a hitch. Jeff, nothing personal. If Jeff's not here, the horror house goes off with a hitch. Chris is the dude. Chris is the get that shit out of here.
No, it's monkey
Get
work,
that shit
dude.
out
It's
of here.
just, it's Googling, man.
Yeah, but you make it happen, man, and you deserve a kudos for that. And you're going to be in. Speaking of Texas, you're going to be knee deep in Texas.
I will be.
Um. Oh
I will be in Texas territory in 2 weeks.
yes,
So
yes.
we'll see what we can do. We see what we can do. But probably not an episode that week. But we'll see what
I
happens.
think what Chris is going down there to deliver pallets and aborted babies to the state.
Cadavers, split dogs.
Yeah. So, um, but I don't think we talked about what we're doing next week. I don't even know. Is it whose
Your
pick it
pick.
is?
Your
My
pick.
pick. I'm unprepared. So next week is going to be a surprise. I will text you, Jeff, and Chris, let you know what we're going to do. My end of day Saturday is the
Okay.
deadline I will put on myself. I'll try for as early as possible while I think about this.
All right.
In the meantime, also, I want to say to the rabble watching and listening, this is your call to action. Please, we're trying to put shit out here. We are trying. I'm reaching out to some people. I'm trying to stalk some people on the Indeeds and the socials and get some filmmakers in here. Because we've done that once, and I think that Jeff and I, or Chris and I, both enjoyed talking to Mr. Brousseau from Canada, from Nickel City Slashers, and we want to do more of that. And so I'm really trying to make that happen, and it helps. The more subscribers, the more views, the more likes our videos get. Twitch, on YouTube. So go to these things and subscribe. Subscribing really helps the channel. Even if you can like it and you can watch it and you can like it, subscribe, comment. All that engagement really helps. And the more engagement we can get, the more attractive we become for getting filmmakers on here. And we want to
Oh,
get some filmmakers on here. We want to get some like small time guys in here trying to make it big and help them boost and make good horror for us.
I'll stop you
And
right there. And I'll say if you have a horror podcast or a movie podcast and you want one of us or all three of us on your show or vice versa, you want to come in the horror house, let us know and let's do it. And, hey, ghosts, get rid of the static real quick. Thank you. Let's get the socials up there one more time. You can contact us at any of these things. And why did I wiggle my finger like that? That was a little not right. But contact us
jazz
there.
fingers.
And let's, we'll work together to, boost your brothers, man. But that said, amen, Dave. Amen.
Also, turn us on to good shit. If you got a movie that you think we would find interesting, or that we would have interesting discussion of, or you think it's shit and you want to hear us shit on it, or whatever it is, let us know, man. We want to engage. So we want to engage with anyone who's not possibly criminally obsessed with one of the Horror House hosts.
I don't know. Why are you pointing at me? Why are you pointing at me? No. We will see everybody next week. We'll see. It's a surprise. It's a surprise what we're doing. So, Jeff, final words. Dave.
My final words: go out. If you are 21, I'll get you some rum fucking chata and mix it with some root beer. That's some good fucking shit right there.
Rum chata. I'll second it. I haven't even tried it. We're out. Goodbye, everybody. Jazz fingers. Jazz antlers. Am I going to end on jazz antlers? I think I am. Goodbye, everybody. Jeff, you didn't do the antlers.
Aww.